Okay, welcome everybody to our second to last Sunday night training before we head into a new year. So to answer your next question, yes, we will do another call next Sunday night. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do that call because it's still 2 nights before New Year's Eve. So I don't see why we wouldn't do that call. So I'll be here. Somebody will be here doing the training on the 29th. Hopefully you guys will be here on the training on the 29th as well. But with that being said, I wanted to start to kind of speak with all of you guys tonight about kind of heading into this next period, really. And oftentimes what you'll hear us talk about, you'll hear other trainers talk about is, oh, hang on. Oftentimes we speak in these 90-day increments, right? We talk about a 90-day game plan and doing something consistently for 90 days and all that. And while that is extremely valuable and can be massively beneficial if you complete an entire 90-day, what I also know is that a 90-day run can be a little bit overwhelming, and it can cause people to be frustrated and distracted at times and things like that. And sometimes it can be hard to complete. So what I thought about tonight was I just want to get you guys really, really focused in on the first 30 days of January, the first 30 days of January, because we can really do anything for 30 days, right? Would you all agree? Just type in the chat box. How many of you would agree that we could probably do anything for 30 days, right? As long as it's somewhat tolerable and not miserable, right? And even something miserable, most people could probably handle for 30 days. In fact, I was just watching a video clip on Facebook the other day. There's this show here on in the States where these people, it's called Naked and Alive. So these people, no joke, they get dropped off in like the middle of the rainforest or the desert or some like crazy place, right? And all they get to choose is like one thing. And then they have to survive for 30 days, right? Just on the land. And it's a pretty crazy show, but it goes to show what we're capable of and what the human will and the human spirit is capable of when we're focused. And so, one of the biggest things that hurts people from creating the results that they want is this very, very big word called distractions. How many of you would agree, just type in the chat box, how many of you would agree that it's easy at times to get distracted from your goals? Aki's agree, and Aki's like, yeah, man, absolutely, right? Type in the chat box. How many of you would agree it's really easy to get distracted and to lose focus and all that stuff? And so what I want to do tonight is I want to start to put together the distractions that you're going to commit to eliminating. And yes, Cataline, all distractions potentially are equal, right? So what I want us to do is I want us to start to put together a list of our distractions, the things that we are willing to eliminate just for the first 30 days. That's it. That's all I'm asking of you. I'm asking you to eliminate your distractions for 30 days. How many of you, before we go on, how many of you guys are in for this? Just how many of you are up for identifying your distractions and eliminating them for the first 30 days? How many of you guys are willing? All right, just type in the chat box. Okay. Now, the difficult part of this exercise is acknowledging what our greatest distractions are, right? Because oftentimes what we do is we rationalize our distractions, right? We create reasons why our distractions are okay. We create reasons why they are necessary. We create reasons why they're more important, why they are things that we need to prioritize, right? And we come up with these amazing rationalizations. How many of you would agree with that, right? That we are really, really good at rationalizing our distractions, right? Well, the challenge is when we rationalize our distractions, we take away our greatest power as human beings. And the thing that we have more than any other animal, because of the way that we've just evolved humanly, is we have the power of choice. And when we rationalize our distractions, and when we create reasons that make our distractions okay, we take away the greatest power that we've been given. that same power of choice. So I want to say that again. When we rationalize our distractions, we take away our greatest power, and that's the power of choice. Because what we're saying in the moment of choosing into a distraction, and more often than not, that distraction involves other people and other circumstances and things like that. What we're saying is their power over our lives is more important than our power over our own lives. That's essentially what we're saying, right? This thing, even though this thing, and we're going to come up with a list, we're going to work on this together tonight, right? Even though these things, it's not that they don't have importance, it's just rarely are the distractions that you're giving into, are they urgent? Okay? Rarely are they urgent. And that's really important to learn to distinguish between what's urgent and what's important. Because what I know for sure is something that's important can usually wait until something that's urgent has been handled. How many of you would agree with that? That there's a huge distinction between what's important and what's urgent, right? What's important versus what's urgent. Now, with that in mind, that word urgent is a really important word, because when you act with a sense of urgency in this business, when you act with a sense of urgency in any pursuit, when you act with a sense of urgency, you create a momentum that's almost impossible to shut off. But when you give way to your distractions and you're only focused on what you think is important and usually what other people think is important, guess what happens? That momentum kind of looks like this. Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And eventually what happens is it goes like this. Start, stop, start, stop, 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 stop. And the next thing you know, it's January 31st, an entire 30 days have gone by, the first month of the year is already gone, and you can't understand, right, why your business isn't where you want it to be, why you're not feeling as good as you want to feel, right? So what I want to do with you guys tonight is I want to get ahead of that somewhat predictable pattern. And the reason I know it's a predictable pattern is why? Because we're humans. And as humans, we are really, really, really good at finding ways. We are amazing at finding ways to lose focus. We're amazing at finding ways to sabotage. And we're amazing at finding ways to not do the things that we know we get to be focused on to move ourselves forward. Okay? Super important. So, with that in mind, what are your big distractions? What are some of your distractions that you know right now, are preventing you from creating the results that you want in your life and in your business, okay? So Michelle says men and social media. Kelly says scrolling on social media. What else? What are some of your distractions? Your kids. I always say this, if you can get a good price for them, sell the kids. Makes it a lot easier, okay? Work is a distraction, okay? I'm just gonna make a list of these. Okay, so kids, that's an easy one to sell them, I'm telling you. Kids, work, okay? Alcohol, thank you. Alcohol, men, okay? The household, okay? Christmas, yep, thankfully it's only a one-time thing, right? Time, boyfriend, okay? Online shopping, Maria Johanna, you and my wife. Working out, okay, you think that's a distraction? That's interesting. Okay, cool. All right, let's see what if I missed any. Okay, family. Okay, let's see if I missed anything. TV, big one. What else, guys? So there's a lot of you on this call right now. There's 39 people on the call right now. Netflix, yep, big one. Netflix, podcast, personal. So getting sucked down the personal development, I don't know what to call it, but I think I know what you're talking about. Okay. The scroll hole. Okay. What else? What are some of your other distractions? House cleaning. Okay. Instagram and YouTube. Yep. What else? Drama is a huge distract. Other people's drama. Yep. What about comparison mode? Going into comparison, paying attention to what other people are doing. How many of you guys would say that comparison is a distraction, right? Okay. People are distracted. People. Okay. All right. So just type in the chat box. With everything that you just listed, what percentage are you in control of? When it comes to the distraction that you just put in there, what percentage are you in control of? 100%. There's not a single thing that got placed in there that isn't something that we are 100% in control of. 100%. So then the big question becomes, okay, how do I create a new context around some of these distractions, right? How do I create a new context around some of these distractions? So let's look at this in a couple of different ways. And let's take on the kids one in the first place. Okay. I don't have kids. Okay. So I want to start by saying that I don't know what it's like to be a parent. I don't know what it's like to have the demands of children constantly needing things of me, asking things of me. I don't know what that's like. And no, I don't want one, Donna, at all. Thank you, though. I do appreciate the offer, right? And definitely, yeah, no, okay? Everyone's volunteering their kids. Like, see, I told you, just sell the kids, guys. Like, right? It's crazy. Okay. Now, here's the thing, okay? When it comes to your kids can either be a distraction, or your kids can be the reason you get into action. So hear what I just said for those of you guys that have kids. Your kids can either be a distraction, or your kids can be the reason that you get into action. And here's what I can tell you. Again, not a parent, but I am pretty good at understanding people and environments and how energy affects all of us. For those of you that are parents and are getting distracted by kids, let me ask you a question from what you know about your own children. If you carry an energy that they are a distraction, how do you think they're going to respond to that energy? Do you think that they are going to give you your space to focus on the things that you need to do at the time you need to do them? Or do you think that they're going to fight for your attention in different ways? Which one do you think? If they can feel, or they feel like they are a distraction, are they going to carry an energy, and are they going to want to support you in what you're doing, or are they going to fight for your attention so that they can feel love in a different way? Because make no mistake, again, I'm not a parent, but I'm pretty good at working with people, okay? And kids are people. And ultimately, what kids are fighting for is your attention, So are you willing to sit down and have a conversation, like Michelle is saying, are you willing, right, to sit down and have a conversation with your children to create new agreements so that they feel like they're getting your time in a way that feels good for them and feels good for you? Because the other thing I know from observing parents is that one of the reasons you get really caught up in the quote unquote distraction of your kids is because you feel guilty, right? Just agree or disagree. You feel guilty that you're not giving them the time and attention that you think that they need. But then when you are with them, because the energy is disconnected, the time you're with them isn't really quality time. And so you're now spending two places. Now you're trying to be in two places at once, right? You don't really want to be with your kids because you feel like they're a distraction and your mind is elsewhere. So are you really being present with your kids in that moment? The answer is probably not. So exactly, because you're distracted with them even though you're there. And that's not really being present, and that's not really giving them the love that they're seeking. Okay? So what I want you guys to do, again, this is just for the first 30 days so we can practice this. When it comes to your kids, I want you to focus on creating new agreements with your children so that when you're with them, they get 100% of your time, of your energy, so that you are fully present. I'd rather you be fully present with your kids than fully present in your business if you're being distracted by the two. Because your relationship in your home, whether you have kids or not, the relationship that happens in your household, believe it or not, absolutely impacts the way your business is going to grow. Everything's connected. It all goes together. So that's the kids one, right? So I want you to create new agreements with your kids about when is it mommy and daddy time or mommy time or daddy time, right? And when is it business time? And then the other thing that we do with kids, right? What we do with kids is we want to involve them into what we're doing as parents. So we create agreements. Hey, I'm really committed to hitting this goal. Mommy or daddy are really committed to hitting this goal. When I hit this goal, here's what's in it for you. And you involve them in the process. Because when you involve kids in the process of feeling like they're a part of what you're doing and that there's something in it for them, they're more likely to be supportive of you getting the quiet time that you require to focus on your business, okay? So involve your kids. All right, the next thing, work. Guys, work is not a distraction. We gotta take that one off the list. Again, and I wanna help you reframe this so you can focus in new ways. Work is not a distraction. Work is what's paying your bills so that you can build your business. Work is something that I recommend being extremely grateful for. Because the way I look at having a job while building a business is in a couple of different things. First of all, the vast majority of people that you get started into your network marketing business are going to have jobs. They're going to work this on a part-time basis. You've got to be able to demonstrate to those people what it looks like to have a job and build a business. Work is not a distraction. That's why Jim Rohn used to say, right? You work full-time on your job, part-time on your fortune. So when you reframe your work, as being something that you're grateful for because it's what's allowing you to pay your bills so that you can build your business over the long run. Now work is no longer a distraction. Work is a facilitator of your growth. Work is a facilitator of where you want to go. Okay, so let's reframe that one with the work. Okay. Someone wrote men. Well, I'm just going to take a sip of this first. I know it was you, Michelle. Don't worry. I was being kind, right? I know you wrote it. Okay. So just so Michelle feels like she's not alone, right? How many of you, it doesn't have to be men or women in a romantic way, but how many of you are you can get distracted by other people, right? Just other people in general. Okay. Well, when it comes to those people who are hooking your attention, it really comes back to creating new agreements with yourself, right? And it comes back to asking yourself the question of what kind of environment is necessary for me to achieve the things I want to achieve. So if I know that men, right, is a distraction for me, then how do I go about eliminating that distraction? And for how long am I willing to eliminate that distraction? Because ultimately, if you're feeding into that, right, and you know it's kind of a soft spot for you, you've got to eliminate them. At least for 30 days. At least for 30 days. Okay? Scrolling on social media. Okay, this one's pretty simple. Imagine if Facebook or Instagram charged you for scrolling time. Imagine if you had to pay to scroll, okay? Imagine if for every minute you scrolled, Instagram or Facebook charged your account €1 or £1. Okay? And think about how much money you'd be spending just to scroll every single day. Okay? How quickly do you think you'd stop scrolling because of the money you were spending? Now, let's reframe it. Imagine if Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and the things that you're scrolling on, imagine if they paid you to scroll. Imagine if they created a platform that would allow you to reach millions and billions of people. Imagine if these platforms allowed you to reach billions of people, and for every person you connected with in an authentic way, they pay you €1 or £1. See, social media is not the distraction. How you're using social media is the distraction. The way you're viewing social media is a distraction. That's all that's happening. So it's just a question of simply, okay, great. Do I want to use my time on my screen to propel my life forward? Or do I want to use my time on my screen to spend money on something that doesn't serve me in any way, shape, or form? That's just the easiest way to look at it. That's how I've always looked at social media. So do I want to use social media to make me money, or do I want to use social media to cost me money? Because every minute that you spend on social media just absent-mindedly just scrolling along, make no mistake, you are spending money. And that's how entrepreneurs and business people think, right? If it's not making me money, it's costing me money. It's just very simple. If it's not making me money, it's costing me money, okay? So just remember, and then look, there's nothing wrong with once in a while getting on there and kind of having a look and catching up on pictures and seeing what's going on with people's lives and things like that. Nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing. But you just got to ask yourself the question of, how much of my money am I willing to spend simply to be online looking at things that, by the way, for the most part, have zero value in your life? Zero. Okay? So if you struggle with scrolling on social media, maybe what you get to do is create new agreements around, okay, 30 minutes a day. That's all I get, but I'm going to use those 30 minutes strictly for making money for business. That's it. Okay? Working out, also, I wouldn't consider that a distraction. I mean, if it's something that you value and if it's something that's part of your life and it's something that's part of this lifestyle, right? Like, that's something where I look at it and go like, okay, working out isn't a distraction. Working out is something working out is something that fills me up, that fuels me, that keeps me energized, obviously keeps me healthy, right? That's a non-negotiable. What I would actually argue is that some of these other distractions is what keeps us from working out, right, as consistently as a lot of us would like to. So it's, again, cultivating the environment that you want to create. So are you blocking out time in your calendar to work out, right? Are you blocking out time in your calendar to work out? Or here's when working out becomes a distraction. If I don't plan my workouts, right? If I don't plan my workouts and I'm just kind of going like by the seat of my pants and like, okay, well, it's Monday and it's 4 o'clock. Oh man, I haven't worked out yet. Got to go to the gym. Oh, but I was supposed to be on a call tonight. Can't do the call because I got to work out. Now working out becomes a distraction. Now working out is a distraction because it's not planned into your life. It's not something you're making a priority. Priorities are never distractions. Let's make no mistake about it. A real priority is never a distraction, it's a priority, okay? TV. I'm gonna keep this one really simple. This is what my mentors taught me about watching television, okay? You can either sit on your couch and watch people who are making millions, or you can go out and make millions on your own. And make millions for yourself. It's that simple. Now, are there times where Eden and I will go downstairs and catch a movie or something like that? Of course. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with it, right? But it's after the day has been done. It's after our work has been finished. It's only after that we allow ourselves that small indulgence, okay? Netflix obviously goes into that. Podcasts and personal development. Okay. Podcasts and personal development, uber important. We talk about it all the time. Again, the question is, when are you scheduling that into your day? If you have a finite number of working hours, right, where you have your kids, you have your boyfriend, you have family commitments, you have all those things, when are you scheduling in your personal development? And one of the big mistakes that people make is they schedule in their personal development as though it's an income-producing activity, right? And it's not. It's not. So my strong suggestion for the next 30 days, wake up 30 minutes earlier, right? And do your personal development when the world is still asleep. When the world is still asleep, that's when the entrepreneurs do personal growth. Okay? I think we got that. We got that. I think we got that. I think we got all that. Okay, cool. So the big question for you guys as we start to wrap this up tonight is, how are you going to create a reframe around your current distractions? And what are you going to start to identify as what's urgent versus what's important? And are you willing to take a look back on even the last 30 days? Just look back on the last 30 days. You don't have to look back on the entire year. Just look back on the last 30 days and ask yourself the question, okay, how could I have eliminated that distraction? Because it's pretty predictable. Whatever your last 30 days distractions were, there's a good chance that your next 30 days are going to consist of those same distractions. Would you guys agree with that? Just go like this if you'd agree with that, right? If the last 30 days, if you can look back and be like, okay, it was this, 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 and this, there's a good chance that if you don't do anything about it, it's going to be the same distractions moving forward, okay? So what I want you guys to do is spend some time either tonight, tomorrow, while it's quiet, obviously, spend some time and sit down and write out a list of all your distractions. Write down a list of all your distractions. And then I want you to go through that list, and I want you to get really, really clear on which ones are priorities and are actually urgent, and which ones are ones that you understand and you know for sure that you can reframe them, create new agreements around them. And then I also want you guys to start scheduling things a little bit more intentionally, okay? You don't have to have a really strict schedule. I don't do well with like a really strict schedule, but you gotta start to create an environment where you're setting yourself up to win. See, if you put it in your calendar, it becomes real. It becomes an appointment, okay? And if you want to be a business owner, it's important you keep your appointments. And if you want to have credibility, it's important you keep your appointments. And if you want to be a great leader, it's important you keep your appointments. But it's most important you keep your appointments with yourself. So new agreements with the kids, new agreements with yourself, and start scheduling in what your real priorities are that are going to move your business forward. So if you only have an hour a day to work your business, that hour a day has to go in the calendar, and it's non-negotiable. Those are your work hours. The same way, you don't get to choose, for most of you at your job. It's not like if you have a 9-to-5 job, it's not like you can be to your boss like, hey, look, God, I think I'm just going to come in from like 2 to like 2:45 today. You'd get fired in a day. They'd be like, I don't think this is right for you. Well, as the CEO of your business, you're also the most important employee of the company. So for the next 30 days, are you willing to schedule your life in a way in which you treat your business like a job? And that means saying to your kids, honey, sorry, sweetheart, I can't do that today. I have to go to work. I get to go to work. Because again, for those of you guys that have regular jobs, if your kid is like, hey, I want to go to the petting zoo, and they throw a fit about it while you have to go to work the next day, you're not going to call into your job and be like, hey, sorry, can't come in today. Kid wants to go to the petting zoo. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way, right? So start to treat your business like you're your best employee. And when you do that, you put yourself in a position to win, you set yourself up for success, and at the end of those 30 days, you look back, you review your performance, and do you think you're going to be proud of yourself or disappointed in yourself? You're going to be proud of yourself. Why? Because you used your time, the most precious thing that we have, you used your time to propel yourself forward as opposed to allowing those distractions to stop you and pull you back. So anyway, we're over by 2 minutes. I know it's getting late in Europe and the UK. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. I'm going to post in the group, what did you learn? I hope this was valuable for you. Have a great evening. We love all of you. Aki, thank you for joining us on the call this evening. Bye, everybody. Love you. Bye.